All right, students, welcome back. This is test 2-1. Let's begin. Question 1, find the distance. Distance is equal to the square root of the change in the x squared plus the change in the y squared. So I'll have here my two x values, 3 and 8 subtracted, followed by squaring it. Then I'll have my two y values, -4 and -4 subtracted, and then squared. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying 3 minus 8 is -5 squared. And then -4 minus -4 is actually 0 squared. So this becomes 25, which is 5. The x is changed by 5. The y's did not change at all. Therefore, the distance is only 5 because the y's did not change at all. All right, find the midpoint. Add and divide by 2. So I have -1 and -7. When I add them, they make -8. Half of -8 is -4. And then for the second value, the y values, I have 3 and -7. When I add them, I get -4, and half of -4 is -2. -4, -2. -4 is halfway between -1 and -7. It's 3 away from each. 3 below -1 and 3 above -7. And I should say left and right. 3 to the left of -1 and 3 to the right of -7. And then -2 is 5 below 3, 5 above -7. Find the other endpoint. This is our pattern question. So my x's are 3 and 5. To get from 3 to 5, I had to add 2. So my endpoint, the x value of my endpoint will be 5 plus 2. 5 plus 2, 7. My y values here are 7 and -3. To get from 7 to -3, I had to subtract 10. So my other y value is going to be -3 minus 10, which is -13. With this question, we're doing somewhat different, or somewhat the opposite of question 2. So here we're looking for the other endpoint to make this the middle. So 5 is halfway between 3 and 7. And -3 is halfway between -13 and +7. Whereas here we're looking for the middle value between the two numbers. Keep that in mind when you're working the question. Find the measure of each angle. This is alternate interior, so x will be 128. Again, you should fill in all the angles on this diagram when you're working this question. So if this one's 128, this one's 128 up here, this one's 128 down here because it's vertical. This one's 128 over here as well because it's vertical. So those are the four 128s on the diagram. And the other four angles are 52 each. The supplement of 128. 180 minus, in other words. All right, identify each pair as corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or adjacent. Vertical or adjacent. So these are corresponding, they're in the same spot. Both in the top right intersection. These are alternate exterior. Both exterior alternating sides of the transversal. And when I'm looking at this, if the y, instead of being here, if the y was here, that would be corresponding to the x. Now if the x and the y were both inside here on the same side, they would be consecutive interior, same side interior. And if they were opposite sides, if the y was here and the x was here, that would be alternate interior, alternating sides interior. All right, question 7. These are alternate exterior angles, so these will be equal to each other. So I will set 6x minus 6 equal to 18 plus 4x. I will take 4x from 6x to yield 2x. I will add 6 to 18 to yield 24. I'll divide 24 by 2 to get 12. Value of x here is 12. These are consecutive or same side interior, so I'm going to add these up. 5x plus 140, and this will be equal in value to 180. I'll take 140 from 180. I'll get 5x equals 40. Sorry about that. I'll divide 5 by 40 into 40. I'll get x equals 8. These are supplementary because they're consecutive interior. Alright, converse, inverse, contrapositive. The converse, again, is switching the statements. So if December, then Christmas. The inverse is negating the statements. So if it's not Christmas, then not December. And the contrapositive is negation and the switch. So if it's not December, then it's not Christmas. So I do intend to make these 4 points each. So that'll make it so it's 40 on the front. Moving on to the back. Page 2. Alright, so what's the statement and what is the statement and reason number 2? So I'm gonna on step 2, I'm gonna add 8x to both sides. It's gonna be 9x minus 12 equals 33. So that's my statement. 9x minus 12 equals 33. And what I did is I added 8x to both sides. My next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 12 to 33. I'm going to get 9x equals 45. So what is statement 3? Well, statement 3 is to get 9x equal to 45. And what did I do there? I added 12, 33. And my last thing here is going to be that x is 5. And I got that by dividing by 9. Alright, slope of a line. Slope of a line is the number in front of the x after you solved it for y from slope-intercept form. So some of these are solved for y, some of them aren't. The ones that are solved for y, that's pretty easy to identify the slope. So this one is pretty easy to identify the slope. That's the slope right there, -4. Because it's solved for y, there's -4 in front of x. This one is pretty easy to identify the slope as well, because there's -2 in front of the x. Now this one's also solved for y, but there's no x value. So when it's solved for y with no x value, that's called no slope, zero slope. And then this one is solved for x and there's no y. That's called infinite slope, or undefined. That's a vertical line because it's straight up and down. These other two, we should solve them for y, and then we'll have the slope after we solve them for y. So I'll take the 2x from both sides. I'll get y equals -2x minus 2. The slope here is -2. I'll take here the 2x from both sides as well, and that'll yield a negative y equals a -2x minus 4. Now, it's negative y, so I divide by -1 to move it over, and it becomes positive y equals 2x plus 4. So here the slope is +2. So with standard form, you can get the slope an alternate way as well by dividing the coefficient x by the coefficient of y, 2 divided by 1, and then changing the sign. So 2 over 1 negated is -2, and then 2 over -1 negated is +2. Anyways, parallel lines have the same slope. So I'm looking for slopes that are the same here on number 22. -2, these both have a slope of -2. So which one above have the same slope? Question 17 and 18. 17, 19. Both slopes of -2s. And then the perpendicular ones, horizontal is always perpendicular to vertical. So that's 20 and 21. And then the other ones that are perpendicular are the ones that are negative reciprocals. So there should be some that are negative reciprocals here on the test as well. I don't have any on the practice. But if I had one of these with a slope of a half, that would be a negative reciprocal of a positive, or a slope of a half would be a negative reciprocal of a negative 1/2, negative 2. So if this was a 1/2 here, negative 1/2, it would be the reciprocal of positive 2. So these two would be what they were called perpendicular, or some to that effect. But I only have one set of perpendicular lines here, 20 and 21 right now, because I don't have the negative reciprocals. All right, question 24, find the intercepts. When you're finding the intercepts, you're setting the x term equal to the constant at the end. So negative 2x equals 12. Therefore, the x-intercept is negative 6, 0. And then you're doing the y values separately. 4y is equal to 12. Therefore, the y-intercept is 3, 0, 3. All right, parallel, perpendicular, skew. So with this particular question, it should come with a picture. And it says asking if the lines are on the same part of the segment, if they're on opposite sides of the segment, if they're skew with each other. So with the diagram here on the test, let me look it up right now. And I will jot on your practice test before I print them out. But with the diagram on your tests, here it is. It'll have a box drawn for you to look at. And it'll have a box that looks like this. With B, well, we're looking for EI, with EI on the bottom. So here's E and I of the box. And then DH coming up from the side. That is perpendicular to EI. So that is perpendicular. And then AE is going to be coming up this way on the side of the box. So that's going to be A, that's going to be E. A at the top, E at the bottom of that segment. And CD is going to be coming off the side here. So that's DH actually this way. So CD is going to be coming off this way on the box. CD. So AE and CD don't actually touch each other, because AE is here and then CD is here. That is what is called skew. They don't actually touch each other. And then the last one here is the AB and GH. So AB is coming down the side. That's A, that's B. And then GH is coming down the same side in the front. That's parallel. Alright, so on the back I tend to make these worth 4 each as well. I may take one of these off and make them worth a little bit more for one of the questions, so that it ends up being appropriate amount. But good luck.